We are in the home stretch of 2024. And this time of year, as in years gone by, I just like to keep it easy breezy, light and bright. So we're just going to do a little Q&A. So I had sent over, forums over on Instagram, Facebook, and then my YouTube family for different questions. So we're going to get right in it. And we will just start off. I'm trying to like put them in different buckets. So the first one is, and I've actually shared this story many, many times, but the question is, what inspired you to start style at a certain age? And how has your approach to fashion evolved over time? So many of you know, and we're celebrating 10 years in 2025. So I started in 2015, and it's just gone by like that. I mean, in the blink of an eye. But how I started was really quite accidental. I call myself the accidental blogger because I was finishing a book. So I wanted to be a writer. And actually, I am a writer because I write my YouTube scripts and I write my blog posts. But I was actually writing a book, and it was a fiction book. And I had snagged an agent from New York, and he mentioned right away that I needed a social media presence, right? Uh-huh. Wasn't enough just to write the book, but I needed a social media presence to promote said book. And I really thought long and hard because it was like, oh gosh, what am I going to talk about? Because I wanted it to be authentic. I wanted it to be something interesting. So, to make a long story short, I was working at Bloomingdale's in San Francisco, and I was aware of the 20 somethings posting an outfit of the day, 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And I was like, that's it. Everybody always loves my outfits. I can do that. Who cares if I'm 56, my hair is gray, and I have wrinkles? That'll be my social media presence to promote my book. So lo and behold, so that's what I did. So we started snapping photos, and my late husband was alive. And so he volunteered right away to take my photos. I had a beautiful backdrop of San Francisco, although we had no idea what we were doing half the time. Trash can is in the background. And I mean, I can't even tell you. We were on a very steep learning curve. But that's really how I started. I really intended for my book to be published, and then this would just come along and I could talk about that. But for whatever reason, it just took off. So the outfit of the day took off, and I trended on several different social channels. And then I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to create a blog. So that is how Style at a Certain Age was born. So the blog is definitely my baby. Love that. And you can go over there. We post 7 days a week. And actually, in 2025, we'll be posting twice a day because we want to have like some very fun short articles like, what are the 5 nail polishes that you love, or 5 lipstick colors, or just different things like that outside of just the clothes, and focus on more health and wellness. But that is how Style at a Certain Age was born. And I came over to YouTube maybe 3 or 4 years later because I really saw that everything was headed towards video. So, which actually is another question that I will see if I can squeeze in next. Well, maybe not next, but somebody was asking about that. So, my next question is, can you share some of your go-to fashion tips for women over 50? And I'll just keep that actually very short and sweet. I mean, I have lots of videos about that, but one of my go-to fashion tips is accessories. And if you've tuned into the channel, I talk ad nauseum about accessories because that is the easiest way to change your outfit. You can still have your base outfit, you can have your top, you can have your bottom, but if you change out your shoes, if you change out your handbag, if you change out your jewelry, you have a completely different outfit. And that's, how you can take your outfit from day to night, or, work to the weekend. So accessories, definitely focus on accessories and invest in them, because a belt, a handbag, even shoes are not going to go out of style as quickly as your clothes. So feel free, silk scarves, that's another one. So feel free to invest in your accessories because they will last a lifetime. And most likely you'll be able to pass it down to your daughter, granddaughter, and all of that. So that's one. You play with your accessories. And then the other one is, I think this is very, very important, and that is incorporating color and patterns because there is nothing better than a pop of color, especially on a winter day. So, whether that's a pop of red, whether that's a pop of pink, it could be a vibrant blue, but color just immediately brightens your mood. So, I truly believe we need to incorporate bold colors into our wardrobe. And I also like patterns. So, I love gingham in the spring and summer. I like plaid in the fall and winter. Leopard print is always good, or different animal prints. It could be a snake print, it could be zebra. So definitely think about adding color and pattern to your wardrobe. So those are two of my go-tos as far as fashion tips. So my next one is, how do you balance staying on trend with maintaining a classic style? And I think this is a very good question because I'm classic style through and through. That is the timeless style. It's the silhouette that's never going to go out of style. I mean, if you go back and look at our fashion icons in the past, so you can go to Grace Kelly, comes to mind, Jackie Kennedy, Audrey Hepburn. You can even go back further with, Coco Chanel. So a classic wardrobe is so important. So that's, that's why we have the list, like the white button up, the black blazer, the little black dress. So all of these items really fit beautifully into that classic style. However, what happens with classic style that we always need to be thoughtful about is that we can look stale and we can look stodgy if we lean too much into the classics and neutrals and all of that. So I always recommend, and that's why I always keep one eye out on the trends because that's what's going to keep our outfit and us modern, fresh, and relevant. And we always want to stay relevant. So you don't have to add or go crazy with your trendy items. It could just be, maybe you have a trendy pair of shoes on. Maybe you have those like a couple of years ago. We've been seeing them for a while, but that lug sole boot or that lug sole loafer. That was very, very trendy. So add that in. Or again, jewelry, accessories. Very, very easy. You don't have to break the bank, and then you can easily bring it into your outfit and stay modern, fresh, and relevant. So that's what I do. So there again, just keep one eye on the trends, see what's out there, incorporate maybe a new denim silhouette, or maybe, I mean, we're seeing a lot of crop jackets. This is 2024, a lot of crop jackets, high-waisted pants. So incorporate those into your classic wardrobe. So let's see. Let me go to another one. What eyebrow color and what eyebrow company do I use? So, or product do I use? So I use Benefits and I use their eyebrow gel. You can get a wax, you can get a pencil, but I like the gel because it really kind of grooms my eyebrows into just a nice little shape. And I use the color gray. And I can have that link down below, or YouTube is making it so easy to shop these days, and so you can see it in the product list up there. But it's Benefits, love it. It's truly my favorite. I mean, I've tried a lot of different brands, from drugstore brands to a little bit higher price. I think Benefits is a little bit higher price, but Benefits is definitely my very, very favorite. And then somebody asked me that I have a lot of courage to go gray. And what age was I when I actually embraced my natural hair color? And I readily admit that, I mean, these days, I don't think it's very brave to go gray. And I think, especially since COVID and women were home and they couldn't go to the hair salon and they couldn't dye their hair, I think you saw a lot more people, a lot more women embrace their gray. So, but I really was kind of on the forefront, and I embraced my natural color when I was 50. So, which was, let's see, I'm 66. So I've been rocking my natural grays for that long. But before that, I really just, I mean, they discovered my first gray hair when I was 17. I was a teenager, and I'll never forget I was getting ready for prom, and my hairstylist pointed that out, and I think I burst into tears because who wants to have gray hair at 17, right? So I've always had that, the beginnings of that, white silver in my hair. And we really just highlighted it to reveal it rather than conceal it. I never dyed my hair. So it was always with highlights. And when I was 15, actually, we had come back from the living overseas for 10 years. And I had a brilliant hairstylist in Minneapolis, and she just suggested that we just go natural. She's like, we were really just mimicking with the highlights and the lowlights, what my natural hair color was doing. So I was like, great, let's just do it. And I never turned back. But I will mention when I first started blogging 10 years ago, I can't think of anybody else that had gray hair. I can't think of one other blogger that had gray hair. And I got a lot of shit about my gray hair. And I cannot tell you how many women came over and said I needed to dye it. I looked so old. How could I do that? But I've always loved it, and, yeah, and I'm very happy. I mean, I've saved a lot of money, and I've saved a lot of time by embracing my natural color. But I love the era that we live in now, and we have choices, and you can decide what you want to do for yourself. So if you wanna be red, you wanna stay blonde, you wanna, rock your grays, lots of choices out there, so I just say you do you. So, let's see. Let's go back to, how do you see the role of fashion blogging changing over the next few years? I think that's really a brilliant question. And I've really thought about that because, I mean, right now we're just becoming so saturated on all of the social channels. I mean, we have TikTok, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have YouTube, and we've all gone to, to the short form videos, that content, and we're just slinging it out like, left and right. So I think the market is actually very saturated. So I think really, for me, when I look at things, it's like, honestly, there's nothing new under the sun. There's no amazing fashion tips or tricks or secrets that I would reveal that haven't been revealed already. So I just really focus on just creating the most authentic content possible, for our channel. And of course, I think that many of you stop by because you like to see how I personally put together an outfit. And actually, I really just received the most lovely compliment. So she had discovered my YouTube videos, but then she came over to Facebook and left a comment over there. And I just so appreciated it because she said, she's like, Beth, I love your style and I love your videos, but I just wanted you to know that it's you personally modeling the outfits that makes it seem authentic and makes it seem believable. Because we've all seen those channels, where they're taking, something from another blog. I mean, I see my content, I'll put it in air quotes, stolen all the time and put on other channels. So I do think it's really important to, and it's always been important for me to create my own content and then share that with you. And then I know it works and what doesn't work. But also for me personally, I've branched out into a podcast. So absolutely love that. I do or film the podcast with my two daughters-in-law. It's called Message from Mom. We have a YouTube channel, and then you can find us on all the podcast channels too, Apple and whatnot. But that's been for me anyway. It's really nice to step away from the fashion and style world, and then go and really, honestly, I'm basically just shooting the shit with my daughters-in-law, and it's just been very invigorating. Let me say that. As far, and it really just kind of removes me and re-energizes me to come back and put together, as I said, the best content that I possibly can over here. But definitely short form videos. I mean, they're here to stay. Live streaming, I think we've talked about that, and I think we're going to test the waters with that this year. So stay tuned to that. So that's basically what uh, the direction that I'm going to be taking. And then also, too, and you've heard me say this many times. The older I get, the more I understand it's so important to have sustainability when it comes to our clothes. I am not a big fan of any of the fast fashion brands And I hope we can get away from, churning over. I mean, like even brands like, Talbots and Ann Taylor, they're bringing in new things like every 6 weeks. And I really want us to step away from that. So I do think about sustainable brands, sustainability, that's at the forefront of me. And even when I purchase something, I want it to last. But if I want to or I mean, I'm a style and fashion blogger, so I only have so much room. So I really do think about resale or donating it. I just don't want it to end up in the trash bin. So that's actually very big for me. Sustainability. So, okay, let me see what else we have. It says, "Hi, my question is how much does it cost for you to put together an outfit?" And that's a really good question. And one of my hopes is that when you come over and see an outfit of mine, that you can recognize that you can put it together with whatever budget works for you, because that truly is what style is all about. When I go and I'm looking at a beautiful outfit from Chanel, I know that I cannot replicate that exact outfit. So I just take different aspects of it and put it together with what is my budget. But honestly, you can go I mean, if you're counting every single item, like earrings and watch and bracelet, maybe have a silk scarf. I mean, the more items that you add to your outfit, the more expensive that outfit is going to be. But I typically shop the mid-price brands, so I'm like rocking J. Crew, Talbots, and Taylor, Lands' End. So nothing that really breaks the bank. It's all pretty much, I would say my outfits would be from $50 to $250, on average. But there again, you're probably not going to be including the jewelry and things like that. But I really try to stay at a mid-price level. Not that I don't invest in beautiful handbags or shoes or things like that, or even expensive blazers. Like I love Veronica Beard, love to add her in. She's a little bit, higher price, but I really do I really try to hit that sweet spot. So it's 50 to $250 an outfit, I would say. So somebody's asking me, are you going on a winter vacation in 2025? And actually, so I'm already starting to craft my schedule for 2025. And so I'm pretty much staying home for January because I'm actually, so one of my kiddos is traveling. So I'm watching his dog Pax, who's Oscar's best friend. So I'm kind of housebound for a couple of weeks in January. But then the very first weekend in February, I'm going off to 30A for a long weekend. And then at the end of the month, then I'm going off to Sarasota also for a long weekend. So Florida twice in February. And then in March, I'm already trying to figure out. So a cruise line just reached out to me. So I'm trying to figure out if I can squeeze that in March. But I do have 2 trips planned to different parts of Florida, and I'm actually looking forward to it. And I'm hoping that the weather is going to be very nice. So, someone asked me, how did your love of fashion begin? And I think that's like really, really easy. And I have my mother to thank for all of it. She absolutely loved clothes. She loved fashion. She was always on top of trends. And one of the things that really struck me as a very young girl, so my mom had 2 sisters, and when they would all get together and they would always talk about the good old days and growing up and this and that. And every single story that they shared always involved who was wearing what. Oh, Kathleen had that beautiful cashmere sweater. Oh, she wore she had a silk scarf, or it was, I mean, they painted these beautiful, vivid pictures, and it always included what everybody was wearing, and that really struck my mind as a young girl. It was like, wow, that's very powerful. That a memory, when you conjure up a memory, that you're really conjuring up exactly what people look like. So that probably was my first introduction to fashion. A, my mom, and B, when she would get together with her sisters and talk about fashion. So I absolutely love that. And Okay, so I'm gonna answer one more question because I never like these to go too terribly long, but or maybe two, because I inevitably get a question about grief and I inevitably get a question about dating. So I will close this episode with both of those. So grief. And it is a holiday time, and if you have just lost a loved one, my heart goes out to you, and I'm just, truly give yourself some grace and give yourself some space. I used to say this to myself all the time after I lost Mr. Style because it takes time and it takes effort and it truly does take a lot of hard work to work through grief. But there again, you have to go through it. You can't there are no shortcuts. You can't go around it, you can't go over it. There's no shortcut. You truly just have to work through it, and that's why I always recommend giving yourself some grace and space because if it's your first year, you're so raw, your emotions are just going, you're just like this ping pong ball and they're just kind of going everywhere. And you may go for bits where you're absolutely fine. And then you go for other bits where you're not fine. You're a complete wreck. So I always just say keep your friends and your family very close because you truly do need to lean in on them. You need to lean in on people that are emotionally stable and they will help you through because you don't want to get stuck in your grief because when you do that you truly do get stuck and you're looking in the rear view mirror. And so I mean here's a good like visual. So you have the big if you're driving a car, you have your windshield, you're looking forward and you have this big beautiful windshield and a lot of space that you can see in front of you. But when you're looking in the rear view mirror, it's just a very small little mirror that you're looking in. But that's what happens when we get stuck in our grief. We get focused on the past and we're not able to move forward. And you do always want to be working towards moving forward. And now that I'm 5 years into, losing Mr. Style, and this will be my 6th Christmas, my 6th, major events, I can truly I mean, right now, I mean, listen, I can be brought to tears at at any given moment. I mean, that's a beautiful thing about, truly missing someone in your life, but most days, I would say 99% of the time, I'm just looking back and feeling so thankful and feeling so blessed that I had him in my life for that many years. I know he'll always be in my heart, but I also am moving forward. And so then that will segue into my last question, which is always about dating, because everybody's always so curious about my dating. And I've also shared this many times too, is that I really do keep who I'm dating very close to my chest because I do have a very interesting job. I'm have a very interesting profession where you do see snippets of my life, but I do like to keep my private life very private. So, and that even goes like for my kiddos and whatnot. And so I will share this. So um if you didn't hear the news, I'm going to be a grandmother or I'm going to be a BB. I'm going to that's what I decided that the baby will call me. But yes, I'm going to be a grandmother and so that will occur in 2025, May of 2025. So there again, so excited about that. But I will be very protective over that granddaughter, and it's a girl. That granddaughter. I mean, I will ask my children, "Hey, can I take a photo?" Actually ask them if I can take a photo and post it on one of my social channels. So I try to be thoughtful about that. I mean, I'm out here going, blah 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 on any given day, but I do try to keep my private life private. So, but I have been out dating for the past few years. I've met some really great guys. I can't say that I've had, anything like, super weird or wonky go on. I mean, I faced my fair share of rejections and I've, rejected a few along the way. Um, dating is exactly the same as it was when I was in my teens and 20s as it is when I'm in my 60s. How we meet is quite different, but people are people and dating is dating. And overall, I've had a really great time. So that wraps up another Q&A. And if you have like any questions that you would like me to address in future videos, you can leave that down below in the comment section. And give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Of course, hit the subscription box down below. And I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye-bye.